Welcome, Smash team, to the Smash stream. We got a cycle 25 Sunspot going on. Don't worry, folks. We didn't forget about you. Sunspot 2744 has blasted onto the scene. Check it out. I better get rid of that music. All right, there we go. I'm going to give you 1 minute of lead time, and then I'm going to be right back. Please tell your friends and foes to join the live stream. Now, we have seen some reverse polarity behavior here, indicating cycle 25 is kind of giving itself a slow start here. We're going to look at it in 304 angstroms also. Welcome, Sunspot 2744, to the solar system. Interesting fields associated with this, so let's look at it in colored magnetogram also. Now, this sunspot is very far from the equator. And just a consumer tip, solar minimum sunspots take place very close to the equator. And on that note, let's go on to the butterfly diagram, with which many of our viewers are probably very familiar. Now, the butterfly diagram is the diagram you see before you. And when you see sunspots at very low latitudes, very far from the equator, that is an indication of the new cycle beginning. So I've been predicting it to start in September for the past year and a half, and it looks like it's kicked in a little bit early. So in any case, if you want to read this article yourself, just type in, what did I search for? Sunspot butterfly diagram. You'll see this article here, NASA/Marshall Solar Physics. Just click on that. It'll tell you all about the cycles. Anyway, let's move on to more stuff, as we don't want this video to be too long on your Sunday afternoon. We see a phi angle of 231, solar wind density quite low, 2.49 protons per cubic centimeter, and solar wind speed at low solar minimum style levels at only 352 kilometers per second. Thanks, Milky Way Galaxy team, for the win. Here's where the stuff's located in this solar system. If you're viewing the video from a different solar system, universe, plane of existence, spacecraft, etc., please leave a comment. Here's where things will be in 1 week. Saturn opposition occurs in 2 days, and there's a lot of stuff going on above my head. Before we do that, we're going to look at the stereo A coronagraph, as we do most days, because there's a pulsating plasma plume. A pulsating plasma plume, folks. Now, the Earth is out in this direction for your new viewers out there, if we have any new viewers. You can see this plasma pulsating out here, not really being ejected as far as we can tell yet. And that's part of the reason why we watch. Now, check out in-the-sky.org. If you want to make a sky map, a star map above your own head, here's what's going on above mine. I mean, we got the moons just risen, Mercury and Mars, as well as the Sun and Venus, all up there at the same time. Isn't that interesting, folks? It's a planetary alignment. Here's a synoptic map. Sunspot 2744. Shout out. Next, we're going to look at magnetosphere movies. We're just going to look at the density and the pressure. Density is going to be very low as the solar wind density is only about 2.5 protons per cubic centimeter. We see some undulations here. Keep in mind, for you new viewers, that the white on this chart is showing low density. We're looking at magnetohydrodynamics, folks, a new and ultra important branch of science, not well understood by most folks. Here's the pressure. We see the highest pressure on the magnetotail side, the non-sun facing side of the planet. Fairly discharged. And let's move on to the geospace ground magnetic perturbations, as this channel does not seem to have a magnetic personality. We've been super stagnant with our subscribers, so please like and subscribe if you haven't already done so. Anyway, here's the ground magnetic perturbations as we watch the South Pole continue to drift into the Indian Ocean, and the two North Poles, one over Canada and one over Siberia. There are the perturbations. Not very big. And when you get a weak solar wind, you typically don't see big perturbations. We cover it anyway each day. Thanks to everybody who donates. Thanks, patrons. We are going to run a credits list at the end of these videos eventually, once I get it all animated and stuff. So email me at smAshomash@gmail.com with any questions, concerns, or if I failed to include you on the list. Also support the channel via Hemp Lucid, via our Spaced Out campaign. Check out the links in the description below this video if you want to get some CBDs. There are some sales going on. And I think I need to get myself some water soluble. Also visit our sponsor shop, theveloshop.net. If you're a prepper, you don't have a bike in your arsenal, well, you have an incomplete arsenal. I would recommend something like a hybrid if you're only going to use it for prepping purposes. Hybrids are very versatile bikes, and they have a variety of options available. How about the BMC Alpen Challenge? Whew, that is a nice hybrid. Comes with fenders included. Totally sweet. Also, thanks for donations via PayPal. We appreciate it. And keep in mind, the tier on Patreon is only $1, folks. Links to all this in the description below the video, as well as the original music, such as Unified Theory, the song you just heard. You can add it to your MP3 collection for 99 cents. And also check out SoundCloud, some older music there. 10.7 centimeter radio flux, still at solar minimum conditions at only 67. We got a cold thermosphere up there, folks, a cold thermosphere. Now, we did see some B-class X-ray flares here associated with that sunspot. And we're going to show it to you on the gong, too, as there's a signature of that sunspot. We'll show it to you in a minute, but first we're going to look at some more data here, courtesy of spaceweathernews.com. Shout out to Ben Davidson. Magnetometer's looking smoother than it's been for the past couple of days. KP index is giving me the finger. Down to 1. Electron flux still quite low. No satellite charging hazards. F2 layer is looking totally different than it does most times when we make this video, as we usually make this about 7 hours ago. Anyway, there's the F2 layer, and it's looking pretty charged on the sun side and pretty normal on the night side, although I'm not that familiar with looking at it this time of day. Let's just move on. Trying to get to the aurora forecasts. There is the borealis, and there is the australis forecast. Here's a gong too, and you're going to be able to see when that sunspot forms right in this area. You're going to see like a spherical shape come out here. You'll be able to see it in the magnetic field lines. Zoom in on that for you. That is the formation of that sunspot. which again did kick off a few B-class X-ray flares. Right there, the Sunspot formed, you see it? Right in this area. Let that play through once more and then move on before we're old and gray. Not that there's anything wrong with being old and gray. Follow us on other social media, such as on Instagram. You'll see some stuff that has nothing to do with space weather. Here's me burning up the road yesterday on the time trial bike. I was going so fast uphill I could barely film. Anyway, also follow us on Twitter if you find it easier to share our videos that way. Or what about Facebook? Facebook.com/smAsho. We're there. We're also on Gab. Gab.com/smAsho. And Minds, the open source social media that won't censor you. Again, please subscribe to this channel as now we're all the way up to 1,338 subscribers, folks. Earthquake rundown. California continues to get hit constantly by aftershocks following that 7.1 magnitude quake. Let's go through all the 4 and up quakes. There's a 4.0 in that location. Here's a 5.1 at New Zealand in the rift in the ocean where there's been many quakes over the past week. Here's a 4.5 in Japan. A lot of quakes on the list, folks. My finger's going to get tired of scrolling here. All right. 4.1 in Japan at depth, heads up there for a larger quake at the surface. Now that's out in the ocean, it looks like, but it's at 430 kilometers deep. That's a deep quake. 4.9 at New Caledonia. California. Here's a 4.2 at Ridgecrest. Please leave a comment if you felt the quakes or if you're feeling a quake while this video is being shot or streamed or whatever the verb is. 5.1 at Tonga. 4.5 in California as it is rocking and rolling out there. Makes me want to go on vacation to experience an earthquake, as I've never felt one, even though I've been in several, one of which was big enough to make the water swish back and forth in the toilets. Here's a 4.9 in New Zealand. Ton of quakes in California. It's taken forever, and I apologize. Here's a 4.8 at Papua New Guinea. Here's a 4.8 at Tonga, someplace I would love to go on vacation. How about a 4.6 in Mexico? 4.1 in Afghanistan at depth, heads up Afghanistan for a larger quake at the surface. This one at 193 kilometers. Man, oh man, that's a long list. I don't usually mess with the settings too much on the USGS site, as I find it pretty contemptible software. I just let it display all US and worldwide 4.0 plus. So here's a 4.9 at the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Used to be a weird place for a quake, and now we see about 2 a month. 4.7 at Russia. Thanks for reporting. 4.5 at Costa Rica. Here's a 4.5 in the Northern Mariana Islands. That one's at depth. Heads up there for a larger quake at the surface. And the largest quake of the past 24 hours, this one right here, a 6.9 in Indonesia. Looks like it didn't do a lot of damage. And for that, we thank you. Anyway, there's a location of that quake. Again, 6.9 magnitude. And are we at the end of the list yet? This is taking a while. All right, almost there, folks. Almost there. Stay tuned. Here's a 5.0 in that same place. That looks like an aftershock, folks. And lastly, a 4.3 near Kodiak, Alaska. Actually, looks like it's out in the Bering Sea, folks. Anyway, let's move on to pressure maps. I'm going to show you some weather porn right after this. as we are excited to get to use the visible satellite for once. Anyway, there's the pressure maps. Watch out for anomalous low pressure systems if you've had a deep earthquake. Volcano rundown. Let's see what's going on in the world of magmatic activity. Sangjiang Api in Indonesia, producing a 10,000-foot plume via some explosions. Tukono, 7,000-foot ash plume there. Popocatépetl, still exploding. 19,000-foot plume there. Revenador, volcanic ash not seen in satellite. Yet it's on the list anyway. And please don't fly your ultralight over Sabancaya as it's producing a 27,000-foot ash plume. Out Arkansas, you're getting hit with a heavy one. And it's looking stagnant. A nasty looking series of storms. I would also note that Europe is getting pummeled with a crazy ass lightning storm. Check that out. Serbia, Croatia, northern Italy. Crazy amount of lightning going on. Anyway, heads up, Arkansas. Leave a comment if you heard thunder. Shout out Warren, Arkansas. There is thunder rolling in. Check out lightningmaps.org. Next time you hear thunder, you will be amazed at how cool it is. Now let's look at the visible satellite for once, since we usually put these videos up while it's dark. Let's get a close-up of the cloud layers. Check it out. That is what's going on over Arkansas. Please leave a comment if you are experiencing things like heavy winds, hail. And let's look at it on the water vapor map also to see what's really going on. And the reason we use a water vapor map for you new viewers out there is because the water vapor map shows us water that has not condensed onto a cloud. It's not always obvious by looking at Doppler radar what the weather will do. And since we promote things like predictive phenomena on this channel, we prefer to help folks out by teaching them how to predict the weather. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. It feels very strange doing this time of day. Thanks for taking the time to leave a comment. Dusty, the polarity is cycle 25. It's so far off of the equator that it's just cycle 25. I mean, all right, let me get through these comments here. Yeah, the USGS website's having a rough time of it. I mean, plus everybody's viewing it at the same time because of the, uptick of quakes in California. Anyway, it looks like Tennessee just got heavy rain too, as all this water just vanishes off the map. That's because it landed on the ground, folks. All right, let's move on here. We don't want to do too much weather pornography. Oh, we've graduated to the that is an ass, and that is a hole in the ground, vulgarity free section of the video. Now, not to be
churlish,
but there are a lot of utterly
inane
channels on YouTube. I'll just leave it at that. Dear Big Tech, you cannot break the internet. However, the internet can break you. Which is to say, Google, Facebook, Apple, and Twitter especially are on notice. You won't break the internet, but the internet might break you. Talk about economics real quick. This article from Sprott Money is not linked in the description below this video, but you can find it. If gold is in a bull market, buy silver, says David Brady. 2 days ago. Ever hear of the gold to silver ratio? Now, on this channel, we were talking about how silver's at an extremely low price, $14 in November and December of 2018. Did you buy some? We were calling this back here. And I think I bought some Christmas presents that were made out of silver for that reason. What you don't want to do is chase a bull market, folks. Chasing a bull market is not good. Here's the gold chart. Here's the silver chart. Did you catch that? There's gold. There's silver. One last time. There's gold. There's gold. And there's silver. What do you think? Please leave a comment. Well, thanks again for tuning in, everybody. As this stream is about over, we're going to look at a couple more views of the sun. We're going to go through the rest of your comments. And then we are going to run away as if we're being chased by Michael Myers. Looking at the last 16 hours, we're going to go to the 193 angstroms view, as there are some coronal holes to take a look at. Rotating out of the Earth-facing region. And there is cycle 25, sunspot 2744. Looks like it's actually trailing a coronal hole also. How about one more bonus view? We'll do 94 angstroms. As there was a little bit of solar flaring going on there. Very, very minor B-class flares. And you can kind of see them there on there a little bit. We're not going to go to the GOES X-ray imager or anything like that. And we've captured another sprite right out here. I thought I saw one. Anyway, whatever. Oh, Snowflake, it's Zionist propaganda. Is that what it is? Is that your theory? That's not a very sound theory. All right, folks, it's about that time. So remember, when you're staring at the sun, don't drink. And if you drink, stare at the sun anyway. Just don't drive. Don't get blackout drunk and behave like an idiot. Don't oversleep and don't have your whole schedule screwed up because of a power outage. Just saying. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your veins.